Article 1. Future people. Source: ChatGPT. Future people are often closely associated with the concept of time traveler. In science fiction, time travelers are able to travel through time, whether from the past or the future, and they can experience events from different eras firsthand, and may even change history. Common themes in this type of story include time paradox, for example, the grandfather paradox, i.e., if you go back in time and change a significant event, does that affect your existence? Future technology. High-tech products brought by future people often have a huge impact on current society, and sometimes the misuse of these technologies can lead to disaster. Social and moral conflicts. Future people may come from a society with completely different values than today's, which can lead to cultural clashes and ethical discussions. Fate and free will. Can time travelers change their destiny? Or is everything predestined and no matter what changes you make, it won't help? Article 2. Future people who once appeared in Japan, time travelers. Source: ChatGPT. In Japan's online communities and urban legends, the story of the time traveler is quite popular, and several well-known cases of futuristic people are widely circulated. Here are a few famous examples. 1. John Titor. John Titor is one of the most well-known time travelers, and although he first appeared on United States forums in 2000, his story is also very popular in Japan. John Titor claims to be from 2036 and says he was an important part of the United States military sent back to 1975 to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer because it was crucial for it to solve some kind of timing problem in the future. He shared many predictions about the future, including the Civil War in the United States, the outbreak of World War III, and the development of quantum physics. Although many of his predictions did not come true, Titor's story still attracted a lot of attention and became the inspiration for many online discussions, novels, and games. In Japan, his story was further disseminated through forums and novels, influencing Japan's science fiction culture. 2. Future Man 2062. As mentioned earlier, the self-proclaimed time traveler from 2062 caused a stir at the 2CH forum in Japan. He made several appearances in 2008 and 2010 and claimed to have brought many predictions about the future world, from technological advances to natural disasters and changes in human society. His topic sparked a lot of discussion, and although there was no substantial evidence to support his claim, the futuristic man became a mysterious legend on the Japan internet at the time. 3. Future people in 2075. In Japan, there is also a futuristic man from 2075 who appears in the online discussion, claiming to be the future high-tech soldier of a certain country, because time travel technology is widely used, and in the future, humans can go back to the past through certain means. He also shared some predictions about future technologies, but his influence is relatively small compared to John Titor and Future Man 2062. 4. Future Man and urban legends. In addition to named futuristic people, there are many urban legends about futuristic people in Japan. For example, there are rumors of mysterious figures wearing futuristic costumes or wearing advanced gear, and these stories are often associated with UFO sightings or other paranormal phenomena. These kinds of stories usually don't have a specific time or characters, but they still add a sense of mystery to the concept of time travel and people in the future. Article 3. Time Traveler 2062. Source: ChatGPT. Time Traveler 2062 Future Man is a mysterious figure who claims to be from 2062 and has appeared on the Japan online forum 2CH, now 5CH, which has attracted widespread discussion and attention. His stories and remarks are full of mystery and have also sparked great interest among netizens about the future and time travel. Here's a detailed description of the Future Man 2062. 1. First appearance. In 2062, Mikushi first appeared at the 2008 2CH forum in Japan, and he has since appeared several times in 2010, 2011 and 2016. He claims to be a futurist sent back in 2062 with a primary mission to observe and study history, and the time he chooses is the 2000s and 2010s. He interacted with netizens on the forum and answered many questions about the future world. 2. Identity and purpose. The future man of 2062 states that he was sent back by a future government or organization to observe historical events in the past. He did not disclose the specific name of the organization or technical details, but emphasized that he was not a random traveler, but an investigator with a clear purpose. According to him, futuristic technology has advanced to the point where time travel can be manipulated precisely, but he can't reveal too much information related to time travel technology because it would violate the rules of the future. 3. Prophecy and description of future society. In the dialogue between Future Man and netizens in 2062, he shared a lot of predictions and descriptions of the era in which he lived, and the following are some key points. 1. Scientific and technological development. Robotics and artificial intelligence. He mentioned that artificial intelligence and robotics are already highly developed in the future world, and many jobs will be replaced by intelligent robots. The interaction between humans and robots will become a part of life, especially in medical care and daily life. New energy. The use of fossil fuels has been greatly reduced in the future, and human dependence on renewable energy sources, such as solar and nuclear energy, especially small nuclear fusion reactor technology, has matured, which has greatly improved the energy problem. 2. Changes in social structure. Changes in the world order. According to Future Man 2062, the world will undergo a series of dramatic political and economic changes in the future. Some of the existing powers will decline, new powers will rise, and the global political landscape will be reshaped. Global population decline. He mentioned that the world's population will experience a decrease in the future due to wars, natural disasters, and economic recessions, especially in developing countries, and disasters in certain regions that will lead to massive population reductions. 3. Natural disasters and climate change. Increase in natural disasters. In the future, it is particularly emphasized that the Earth's climate change will be further intensified, and the frequency and severity of natural disasters will increase. Disasters such as sea level rise, hurricanes, and earthquakes will become more frequent and devastating, especially for coastal cities. 2011 Japan earthquake. He predicted a major earthquake in the northeastern region of Japan in 2011, and while this part of the prediction was seen as accurate, it may have been a coincidence, as the discussion about earthquakes had been going on for some time. 4. Time travel restrictions. The ethics of time travel. The Future Man 2062 states that time travel in the future is not arbitrary, but strictly controlled. He mentioned that time travelers must follow strict rules and cannot arbitrarily alter major historical events in the past, as this can trigger unpredictable consequences. This is in line with the butterfly effect theory, where small changes can trigger huge ripple effects. 5. Extraterrestrial life and exploration. Discovery of extraterrestrial civilizations. In 2062, Avatar hinted that humans would have more contact with extraterrestrial civilizations in the future, but he did not provide specific details, saying only that these extraterrestrial life forms are not as hostile as depicted in science fiction works, and are more observational contacts. 4. Interaction with netizens. In 2062, the Future Man often interacts with netizens and answers various questions about the future, but he also often keeps it mysterious and avoids revealing too much sensitive information. He stressed that he did not want to disrupt the natural timeline and reminded everyone that certain events are inevitable. His tone is usually cautious and mysterious, which makes his identity all the more intriguing. 5. Evaluation and questioning. Although the story of the Future Man in 2062 has attracted a lot of interest from netizens, there are also many who are skeptical of his claims. Over time, many of the prophecies he mentioned did not come true, which led to more doubts about his authenticity. In particular, he doesn't give any concrete evidence to support his identity as a time traveler, which makes his story more like a well-woven science fiction novel or internet meme. 6. Cultural influences. The legend of the futuristic man in 2062 has had a lasting impact on Japan's online culture, especially in circles that focus on time travel and sci-fi themes. His story has sparked many people's curiosity about time travel, futuristic technology, and how the world is changing, and has been the inspiration for several novels, animations, and films. Article 4. Time Traveler 2075. Source: ChatGPT. In 2075, when people interacted with netizens, they described in detail the world in 2075 and the direction of development of science and technology. Here are his key predictions and descriptions of the future. 1. Scientific and technological progress. Quantum technology breakthroughs. He claims that quantum technology has already made tremendous progress in the future, not only for computing and communication, but also for time travel and the transmission of matter. Quantum computers have completely replaced traditional computers and are the basis for all the technologies of the future society. The dominance of artificial intelligence. In the world of the future, artificial intelligence, AI, will permeate almost every corner. AI is no longer limited to assisting humans in their daily work, but also plays an important role in government, healthcare, and legal systems. Most of the legal decisions and medical diagnoses of the future will be carried out by AI, as AI is considered to be more objective and precise than humans. Robots coexist with humans. Robots merge with human society in 2075. Robots are not only involved in production and services, but also play the role of companions and caregivers in the human home. In 2075, the future man mentioned that the boundary between robots and humans will become more and more blurred, and some people even choose to establish family relationships with robots. 2. Social structure and lifestyle. The formation of a global government. In 2075, the future man mentions that the concept of a state will gradually blur and be replaced by a global coalition government. This global government is responsible for tackling cross-border issues such as climate change, energy distribution, and resource use. Borders between countries become irrelevant because the policies of global governments unify the way the world is governed. Work-life integration. The future of work has changed disruptively, with many traditional occupations being replaced by artificial intelligence and robots. Humans are mainly engaged in creativity, emotional communication, and social care. Since robots do most of the labor, humans work significantly less time and spend more time on leisure and self-actualization. Monetary and economic change. The form of money has changed dramatically in 2075, with the almost complete disappearance of physical money and its replacement by a digital monetary system. The economic system of the future is more based on distributed blockchain technology to ensure the transparency and security of transactions. The gap between rich and poor, while still existing, has been alleviated to some extent. 3. Nature and environment. Climate change and environmental remediation. According to the description of future man in 2075, climate change will still be a major problem in the future, but the development of science and technology has made environmental restoration possible. He mentioned that in the future, the world will develop an environmental control technology that can precisely regulate the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and accelerate the restoration of ecosystems. However, the technology has not been widely spread globally, and only some wealthy countries have been able to fully implement it. Resource scarcity and new energy sources. With the depletion of traditional energy sources, the future society will fully shift to new energy sources, especially nuclear fusion and solar energy technology. He mentioned that a new type of high-efficiency energy storage technology will solve the problem of energy storage and transmission in the future, making the global energy use more balanced. 4. War and peace. Reduction in regional conflicts. Despite the presence of future global governments, 2075 will still face conflicts in some regions, especially those related to the scramble for resources. He mentioned that with the development of technology, These conflicts are no longer traditional wars, but covert wars conducted through cyber attacks and economic means. Militarization of AI. In 2075, AI is already deeply involved in military activities, and the main mode of warfare is the confrontation between drones and automated weapon systems. The application of AI to strategy and operational command has made future warfare more precise, but it has also sparked ethical controversy. 4 Techniques and limitations of time travel. According to Future Man 2075, time travel technology has become relatively mature in the future, but only for government and specific agency use. He mentioned that time travel technology is based on the theory of quantum mechanics and is able to make matter travel through time and space under certain conditions. However, time travel is still severely restricted to avoid major alterations to history. Rules of time travel. He stresses that time travelers cannot arbitrarily alter historical events in the past, especially those that have a significant impact on the future. If these rules are violated, it can lead to the collapse of the historical line or have consequences that are difficult to predict. Application of time travel. In addition to historical research, time travel technology has also been used to correct errors in certain timelines, often under future surveillance and with high-level approval. 5 Interaction with netizens. Like other people in the future in 2075 also communicate with people by answering questions from netizens. He is usually cautious in tone, avoids describing specific events in the future in great detail, and often reminds people that the future is not set in stone and that modern man still has the ability to change some parts of the future through his actions. 6 Evaluation and controversy. While the story of the future man in 2075 has generated a lot of discussion, compared to other more well-known future people, his story has not sparked sustained buzz around the world. This is partly because most of his predictions and descriptions focus on technological and social changes, and lack enough specific historical events or shocking predictions. At the same time, like other time travelers, many netizens remain skeptical about his authenticity, believing that it might just be another online urban legend. 7 Cultural influences. Although he doesn't reach the level of John Titor or Future Man 2062, the story of Future Man 2075 still has an impact on some of the online community, especially in the discussion of science fiction fans and time travel themes. His story is seen as a reflection on the possible future direction of the world, offering new perspectives on time travel, artificial intelligence, and the future of global society. Article 5. Time Traveler, KFK. Source: ChatGPT. Time traveler KFK, a mysterious figure who claims to be from the future, has appeared on online forums in Japan and, like other futuristic legends, has sparked widespread discussion and curiosity. KFK's story has a unique style that is different from John Titor or Future Man 2062, and deals with predictions and issues that are more realistic than overly sci-fi. 1 First appearance. KFK first appeared on the 2CH online forum, later 5CH, in Japan, around the 2010s. He professes to be from the future and begins to interact with netizens, sharing his time and observations of the modern era. Although KFK is not as well known as other famous time travelers, his appearance still attracts a group of people who pay attention to future prophecies and time travel. 2 Identity and mission. According to KFK, he is from the future, although it is not specified what year, but it is implied that he is from the future that is not too far away. KFK emphasizes that he is not volunteering to travel in time, but rather as an observer sent back by a future agency or organization. His main task is to investigate and record historical events in the past, and to communicate with modern people through the internet to convey some warning messages. 3 Predictions and descriptions of future society. In its interactions with netizens, KFK provided many descriptions of future predictions and social changes. KFK's prophecies are more realistic than other time travelers, leaning towards realistic themes such as politics, economics, and natural disasters rather than too much sci-fi technology. 1. Economic crisis and social unrest. Global economic crisis. KFK highlighted the possibility of a severe global economic crisis in the future, which could put the modern financial system at risk of collapse. According to him, the crisis will stem from the unequal distribution of global resources, trade wars, and the bursting of financial bubbles. Rising economic inequality. The gap between rich and poor in the world will widen in the future, with economic crises making the poor poorer and the rich stronger. KFK predicts that this will lead to unrest within society, the growth of protests, and even anarchy in some areas. 2. International conflicts and wars. Geopolitical tensions. KFK mentioned that as the world's resources are gradually depleted, competition between countries will become more and more intense. Especially in Asia and the Middle East, there will be several large-scale conflicts, which will involve not only traditional armed confrontation, but also economic warfare and cyber attacks. Nuclear threat. The threat of nuclear weapons will resurface in the future, especially in some countries that possess nuclear weapons, and the situation will become extremely unstable, potentially triggering devastating events, KFK said. He stressed that the risk of the use of nuclear weapons will remain for decades to come. 3. Natural disasters and climate change. Intensification of climate disasters. Similar to Future People in 2062, KFK also mentioned that climate change will have a great impact on the world in the future. He referred in particular to the increasing number of natural disasters, such as super typhoons, floods and droughts, which would devastate many coastal cities and agricultural areas, leading to large numbers of refugees and social instability. Earthquake threat in Japan. KFK predicts that Japan will suffer another massive earthquake disaster in the future, which will deal a devastating blow to Japan's economic and social fabric. He reminded people to be prepared for natural disasters, especially in earthquake-prone areas. And 4. The restrictive development of future science and technology. Stagnation of technological progress. KFK stressed that there will be bottlenecks in the development of technology in the future. While some technologies, such as artificial intelligence and robotics, will advance, the widespread application of these technologies will be limited by economic and social upheaval and will not be able to move as quickly as modern people expect. Energy crisis. KFK mentioned that the world will face severe energy shortages in the future, especially as the depletion of oil and gas resources will lead to increased global energy competition. Although new energy technology will make progress, it is too slow to make up for the decline of traditional energy in time, leading to a global energy crisis. 5. Extraterrestrial civilization and space exploration. The presence of extraterrestrial life. KFK hints that future scientists will find evidence of extraterrestrial life, but that the evidence will not be as dramatic as in science fiction. The presence of extraterrestrial civilizations will change humanity's understanding of the universe, and the signs of these civilizations are more likely to be discovered through astronomical observations and microorganisms. Stagnation of space exploration. Despite advances in technology in other areas, KFK mentioned that future space exploration programs will be slowed down by economic crises and geopolitical conflicts. Humanity's space program will face funding shortages and technical hurdles in the coming decades to make large-scale colonization plans possible. 4 Techniques and rules of time travel. KFK says time travel technology is a highly classified field in the future, with only a handful of organizations having this capability. He points out that time travelers must follow strict norms and must not interfere with history or reveal too many specific events in the future, otherwise the integrity of the timeline will be undermined. His role seems to be more of an observer than an intervener. The risks of time travel. KFK mentions that time travel is not an easy technology and that there are huge risks. If a traveler accidentally intervenes in history, it could lead to a timeline collapse or the creation of a parallel universe, which is strictly forbidden by the future government. Interaction with the current era. He explained that he chose to communicate with modern people online because it is a low-risk way of interacting that conveys information without having an undue impact on history. 5 Interaction with netizens. KFK appears to be more realistic and cautious than other futuristic people when interacting with netizens. He does not overemphasize fantastical future scenarios, but focuses more on real-life issues such as the economy, natural disasters, and social instability. He often warns netizens that although there are risks in the future, these risks can be prevented and mitigated. He also emphasized that the actions and decisions of modern people are crucial to the impact of the future. 6. Evaluation and controversy. KFK's story is closer to reality and his predictions are more sober than John Titor or Future Man 2062, which makes his predictions more credible to some. However, many are skeptical about KFK's identity, believing that this could just be another elaborate cyber-urban legend. Since most of the events he predicted had not yet happened, or had not been accurately realized, his authenticity was also questioned. 7. Cultural influences. Although KFK does not have the same global visibility as other famous futurists, his story still has an impact on the online community in Japan, especially for discussions of future economic and social crises. KFK's prophecy has led people to focus more on real-life issues rather than just indulging in sci-fi futuristic fantasies. Article 6. Time Traveler, YJ. Source: ChatGPT. YJ the Time Traveler is a mysterious figure who appears in Japan online lore claiming to be from the future, and like other future people such as John Titor Future Man 2062, YJ's story involves future society, technological developments, and global events. The content of his prediction involves technology, environment, economy, and other aspects, which has aroused netizens' curiosity and discussion about the future world. 1. First appearance. YJ appeared on Japan online forums and made his debut on a discussion board in the 2010s, claiming that he was from the future. He claims to be from a world about 100 years from now, at the beginning of the 22nd century. Compared with other people in the future, YJ's stories and predictions seem to be more concrete and close to reality, especially in response to climate change, technological progress, and the evolution of human society. 2. Identity and purpose. YJ claims to be a time traveler from the future, tasked with carrying out a mission assigned by a scientific institution or government organization in a future world. He did not aim to intervene in modern history, but rather to document and study the key events of the past as an observer to help future historians better understand the course of human development. He emphasized that the time travel technology of the future does not allow travelers to interfere too much with historical events, as this could change the future. 3. The world of the future. According to YJ, the world of the 22nd century is significantly different from contemporary society. He mainly talked about the future of environmental problems, scientific and technological progress, and changes in human society, and predicted some issues of concern to contemporary mankind. 1. Climate change and environmental crisis. Intensifying environmental crisis. YJ describes the environmental challenges facing the world in the future, particularly the devastating effects of climate change. He predicted that the middle of the 21st century will be a critical period for climate change, with rising sea levels and an increase in extreme weather events, which will cause major blows to the global economy and lifestyles. Many coastal cities will be inundated and millions of people will be reduced to climate refugees. Depletion of natural resources. YJ mentioned that many natural resources will become extremely scarce in the future due to human overexploitation of natural resources. Shortages of oil, gas, and rare metals will lead to economic instability and intensify international competition and conflict. 2. Scientific and technological progress. Quantum technology and artificial intelligence popularization. YJ predicts that in the future, quantum computing technology will be widely used, and artificial intelligence, AI, will penetrate into all aspects of human life. The AI of the future will not only be used for daily work, but will also help humans solve complex social and economic problems by making decisions through precise data analysis. However, this also raises ethical and privacy concerns, and the impact of AI will continue to be discussed and monitored in the future. Breakthrough in human-machine integration. YJ mentioned that future scientists have successfully combined artificial intelligence with the human brain to achieve a state of human-machine integration. This brain-computer interface technology enables humans to process information faster and seamlessly connect themselves to the online world, thereby improving human cognitive ability and work efficiency. 3. Social structure and lifestyle. Social change and global unity. YJ predicts that the world will no longer be divided by dividing lines between nations, but will be replaced by a globally unified system of government. This government is responsible for managing the allocation of resources on a global scale and addressing cross-border issues, such as climate change, the energy crisis, and economic recession. While global governments have brought some stability, they have also provoked protests against centralization in some regions. Changes in work and the economy. The future of work will change dramatically due to the proliferation of automation and AI. Humans no longer need to do repetitive manual work, but instead focus on creativity, design, and spiritual development. The universal basic income system will become mainstream in the future, guaranteeing that everyone has a basic livelihood guarantee, but it will also lead to a loss of social responsibility for some people. 4. Politics and international relations. New types of international conflicts. YJ mentioned that future international conflicts will no longer be traditional military wars, but will be more concentrated in the economic and technological fields. Countries will compete for global influence through data wars, economic sanctions, and competition for resources. In particular, energy wars caused by global resource shortages will become one of the main forms of conflict in the future. Cybersecurity and data warfare. YJ mentioned that with the advancement of technology, cyber warfare will become the most common form of conflict in the future. Cyber attacks between countries to disrupt each other's infrastructure or steal critical data pose a significant threat to global economic and political stability. 5. Extraterrestrial life and cosmic exploration. Discovery of extraterrestrial life. YJ said that in his time, humanity had identified the existence of extraterrestrial life and had limited contact with some of these civilizations. The existence of extraterrestrial life has changed humanity's understanding of the universe and has driven more cosmic exploration programs. Space colonization plans. Despite the significant environmental and resource challenges facing Earth, YJ mentioned that humans have already begun planning to colonize other planets, especially objects within the solar system such as Mars and Europa. These colonization programs are still in their early stages, but they have the potential to be the next development direction for human civilization in the future. 4. Description of time travel techniques. YJ believes that time travel technology has matured in his time, but is heavily monitored and regulated. He described the principle of time travel, based on the theory of quantum mechanics, which enables matter to travel through different dimensions of time. However, time travel is not suitable for large-scale use and is limited to a small number of elite scientists and government officials for historical research and observation. Limitations of time travel. YJ mentions that time travelers cannot arbitrarily alter major historical events in the past, as this could lead to a time paradox or create a parallel universe. He emphasized that the role of the time traveler is primarily to observe and record, not to alter reality. Stability of the timeline. YJ says that changes in historical events can lead to huge fluctuations in the future, which is why time travel is heavily regulated. All time travelers are asked to keep a low profile and not interfere with the major events of the moment to ensure the integrity of the timeline. 5. Interaction with netizens. YJ is very cautious in his interactions with netizens, and he is reluctant to reveal too many specific future events, especially those that may directly affect modern society. He often reminds netizens that the future can be changed, and contemporary behaviors and decisions will directly affect future development. He stressed the importance of environmental protection, ethics in science and technology, and international cooperation as the key to avoiding catastrophe in the future world. 6. Evaluation and controversy. Because YJ's prophecies involve specific social and environmental issues, many believe that his story is closer to reality than other time travelers. However, as with all futuristic legends, YJ's identity and the veracity of the story remain in question. Many see him as another cyber-urban legend and are skeptical of the future predictions he provides. 7 Cultural influences. Impact on pop culture. YJ's story has garnered attention in online communities and certain subcultures, and while it hasn't made a global splash like John Titor, some of his views and predictions have made a certain impact within specific circles. These ideas have had an impact on time travel themes, science fiction stories, and future predictions in popular culture, drawing more attention to these themes. Inspire thinking and creativity. Fiction and media. YJ's stories and predictions provided inspiration, and many novels, comics, and other media works were influenced by him, depicting similar future scenarios and technological advancements. These works explore the impact of future technologies, the consequences of environmental problems, and the shifts in global politics. Social discussion. YJ's story has led to a more in-depth discussion on issues such as scientific and technological advancement, environmental protection, and international cooperation. His predictions and observations have been used to explore similar issues in the real world and have prompted a number of social movements and policy initiatives. 8. The impact of YJ and its follow-up. Expansion of influence. While YJ may not be as well known as other well-known futurists, some of the predictions and observations he made have generated a lot of discussion within a particular circle. His story provokes deep reflections on the future environment, technological developments, and international politics. These predictions and observations are seen by some internet users as warnings of possible future events, prompting them to pay more attention to current environmental protection and technological ethics issues. Subsequent impacts. Environmental movement. YJ's projections focus on environmental issues has pushed some people to become more active in the environmental movement, particularly in reducing carbon emissions and conserving natural resources. While it's uncertain whether YJ's prediction will come true, his words give a deeper understanding of future climate change. Ethical discussions on technology. Predictions about artificial intelligence and quantum technologies have sparked discussions on the ethics of science and technology. People are starting to pay more attention to how the development of AI should be limited, and thinking about how to strike a balance between protecting personal privacy and avoiding the misuse of technology. Global sense of cooperation. YJ's concept of a global unified government and international cooperation has sparked discussions about global cooperation and international relations. Many are beginning to think about how to foster international cooperation to address global challenges such as climate change and resource scarcity. 9. Criticism and skepticism. Although the truth of YJ's story and predictions has attracted a lot of attention, it has also faced a lot of doubts and criticism. Many people have raised questions about YJ's identity and the veracity of his predictions. Skeptics argue that YJ's predictions may just be reasonable speculations based on current trends and real-world issues, rather than real information from the future. Accuracy of predictions. Some netizens are skeptical of YJ's predictions, believing that they may be too pessimistic or vague. Although some of his observations are consistent with current scientific research and social trends, it is uncertain whether they will actually develop according to his predictions. Characteristics of urban legends. Like other futuristic stories, YJ's stories also have the characteristics of urban legends. Whether it's who he claims to be, what he predicts, or how he interacts with online communities, it can be a carefully constructed story to capture people's attention and spark discussion. This makes YJ's story both attractive and uncertain. Article 7. John Titor. Source: ChatGPT. John Titor, a time traveler, is one of the most famous mysterious figures who claims to be from the future. His story was widely circulated on the internet in the early 2000s, sparking a lot of attention and discussion. John Titor's stories and prophecies cover many facets, including the future of technology, politics, economics, and warfare, and his topics continue to be featured in online forums and books to this day. 1. First appearance. John Titor first appeared in United States online forums between 2000 and 2001, notably in discussions such as Art Bell's BBS and the Time Travel Institute. He claims to be from the future in 2036 and shares his experiences and predictions for the future as a time traveler. His story quickly gained a lot of attention and became one of the classic cases in the field of time travel and future prophecy. 2. Identity and purpose. Identity. John Titor claims to be a soldier in the United States government, traveling from the future of 2036 to the past in 1975 on a mission, and his main purpose in returning to the 2000s is to find an old computer that is essential to technology in his future world. Objective. He claims to have come to save a futuristic world, and his mission is to collect some of the key technologies that will be important in the future development of science and technology. 3 key forecasts and descriptions. Future wars. Civil War and collapse. Titor predicts that the United States will experience a civil war in the mid-2010s that will divide the country. According to his description, the Civil War would be triggered by political divisions, economic crises, and social instability, and eventually the United States would split into several regional governments. While this prediction did not materialize, it sparked discussions about a possible future civil war and the division of the country. Nuclear war. He also mentioned that the chaos that follows the Civil War will trigger a nuclear war that will cause enormous global damage, especially the destruction of cities and infrastructure. Technology and society. Time travel technology. Titor describes his time travel technology as the C204 time travel machine, a small machine that uses special electromagnetic fields and relativistic effects to travel time. According to his description, time travel is a very complex technology that only a few government agencies possess. Social change. According to his description, the social structure of the future world will change dramatically, individual freedoms will be restricted, and governments will strengthen their control over the people. However, this will change after civil and nuclear wars, and new systems of government will be established. Environment and disasters. Climate change. Titor warns of the effects of climate change and natural disasters. He mentioned that in the future, the world will face extreme weather and environmental problems that will pose challenges to human life and survival. Economic crisis. He predicts a severe economic crisis that will affect the global financial system and economic structure. Life ahead. Technological advancements. Despite the challenges facing the world in the future, technology will continue to advance. Titor describes the way of life of the future, including more efficient energy use and more advanced computer technology. Social system. The future society will undergo many reconstructions, and eventually a new social system will be formed to adapt to the changing environment and challenges. 4. Time travel technology. Time travel principle. Titor describes the time travel technology he uses, calling it the C204 time travel machine, which is a relativistic technology that is able to travel through different points in time in a short period of time. He explained in detail how machines work, including how electromagnetic fields and relativistic effects can be used to achieve time travel. Travel restrictions. Titor emphasizes that time travelers cannot change past events at will, as this can lead to changes in the timeline and may even trigger what is known as a time paradox. As a result, his task was primarily to observe and collect information, rather than intervene in historical events. 5. Interaction with netizens. Communication. Titor's interactions with netizens are shrouded in mystery, as he usually communicates anonymously and provides detailed predictions about the future. He answers many questions about the future, but usually responds in a vague and cautious manner to avoid having too much of an impact on history. Authenticity of information. Although Titor provides many detailed predictions and technical descriptions, the veracity of his information is always disputed. Many people believe that his predictions are just reasonable speculations based on current technological trends and social issues, rather than real information from the future. 6. Evaluation and controversy. Authenticity question. John Titor's story has sparked a great deal of controversy and skepticism. Many have questioned the veracity of his identity and predictions, believing that it may be an elaborate fictional story. To this day, Titor's story is still considered part of an online urban lore, and its authenticity has not been confirmed. Influence and culture. Despite its controversy, John Titor's story has had a profound impact on popular culture in the theme of time travel. His predictions and descriptions were used to explore and discuss future possibilities and inspired many creations and discussions about time travel and future predictions. 7. Follow-up and legacy. Literature and media. John Titor's story has been the subject of numerous books, articles, and studies that explore his predictions, technical descriptions, and influence. His stories have also influenced a number of fiction and science fiction works, especially those involving time travel and future predictions. Time Travel Agency Group. John Titor's story continues to captivate time travel enthusiasts and the community alike. Much of the discussion and research on time travel still references his story and attempts to explore the truth and meaning in it. Ongoing discussions. Despite the fact that many years have passed, John Titor's story is still a source of discussion on the internet. Whether it's an interest in future predictions or a curiosity about time travel technology, Titor's story continues to inspire exploration and reflection about the unknown. Source: Wikipedia. John Titor is a name that was active on online message boards in 2000 and 2001. He claims to be a time traveler from the year 2036 and has made vague or explicit predictions, including catastrophic events after 2004, including a nuclear war, some of which are believed to be true, but not a few false. In addition to false prophecies, many inconsistencies have been found in their interpretations. Tito declares that he is a United States soldier of a future world. Under the command of the military department, he was tasked with taking a time machine back to 1975 to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer and use it to debug some old-fashioned computer programs in 2036. Some people believe that this computer is used to solve the Unix flaws that his world will face in 2038. Because Unix systems use 32-bit space to store a number of seconds from 1970 onwards, this number of seconds is the benchmark for Unix's internal clocks. But at some point in 2038, this space will not be enough, similar to the millennial bug computer problem in 2000, known as the 2038 problem. But John Tito disagreed. He said that the purpose of acquiring the computer was to translate certain old IBM system programs into Unix. He then traveled to the year 2000 to visit his parents and his infant self, and he said he was born in 1998. On at least 2 occasions, John Tito hid his information under a fake name in different discussion forums. His names include Lambert and Elder7. John Tito's post on the Internet discussion forum was obviously intended to make people think that he had really met a time traveler. He first posted on November 2, 2000, using the name timetravel_0, timetravel_0. Then he switched to John Titor. It's possible that John Titor is made up of timetravel_0 drawn and followed by a time traveler R. Titor may also be an abbreviation of a Ukraine surname Titorenko, which happens to be Raisa Gorbacheva's maiden name. Tito was also happy to do some Q&A with netizens during his stay. Many people find Tito's story credible because he has very clear theories as to why he is able to do time travel, and these theories are consistent with known concepts of time travel and the mechanism of black holes. At the same time, it is also in harmony with the philosophy and society that his theory of multiple timelines, parallel universes, can build. There is also plain evidence for this theory, including a photograph of the mechanism behind him and his time machine, as well as a photograph of a laser ray distorted outside the vertical safe distance of the time machine. Tito claims that his C204 time-moving machine was built by Strange Corporation. It appears that his time machine is housed in a standard black 1966 Chevrolet Corvette convertible, which also appears in his photo. The car is also the cockpit of his time travel, though the car is completely stationary and the engine is not started during time travel. He said that time travel was commonplace in his time, although there were still some extreme skeptics who didn't believe in it. On March 24, 2001, Tito announced that he was going back to his own time and would no longer post under the name of John Tito. There was even a video clip showing his time machine disappearing, but it was never made public or shown to neutral individuals. Tito also announced that he had replaced the time machine with a more rugged Chevy truck. The photo shows a 1987 Chevron Suburban 4X4, which he said he got from 2000 to 2001 when he was at his parents' home in Florida. Although it is very difficult to delve into Tito's prophecies, most of them are prospective in nature. But it seems that those who have read them are rapidly polarizing. Currently, there are attempts on the internet to find out the real author of the article published under the name of John. Some people use intimidation and rumors, others try to find flaws in the photos or point out the logical contradictions in what he says. But on the other hand, many believers in Tito, or Tito-rites, relish the following prophecies made by Tito in 2000/2001. Tito provided some technical details for building his time machine, which used miniature black holes. He said CERN would publish information about miniature black holes within a year of his words. In the fall of 2001, after John's departure, CERN announced that it was feasible to create a miniature black hole. Research in this area saw the light of day a few months before that. He mentioned that the IBM 5100 computer had special features that had not been disclosed by IBM. He has repeatedly commented on constitutional and civil rights changes in United States. He said mad cow disease would affect United States and be contained. He said that weapons of mass destruction would not be found in Iraq. And there will be another war between United States and Iraq with the aim of denuclearizing Iraq. He said the United States government would think that Americans want security over freedom. The current United States Patriot Act can be considered a disproportionate sacrifice of liberty for security. Some say it is constitutional freedom, and further legislation is planned that would allow police to search or detain anyone without proper formalities. This bill is considered a proof of Tito's prophecy. Another possible proof is a constitutional amendment adopted by the United States, which states that the sentencing guidelines for all future criminal cases will not be based on the case, but only on the personal judgment of the judge at the time. Article 8. Direction of time, forward, reverse, stationary. Source: ChatGPT. The direction of time is an important concept in physics and philosophy that deals with how to understand the flow of time and its effects. In general, the direction of time can be divided into the following aspects. 1. Forward time. Definition. Positive time refers to the flow of time in the direction of our daily experience, i.e., from the past to the present, to the future. This is the way we commonly flow time, which is the forward direction of time. Features. Entropy increase. In physics, the entropy of a closed system increases over time according to the entropy increase principle. This is part of the second law of thermodynamics, which describes how a system gradually changes from an ordered state to a disordered state. This increase in entropy is an important indicator of the flow of time into the future. Biology and experience. Our organisms and mental states also change in positive time, such as aging and memory formation. The events and memories of everyday life follow a positive flow of time. 2. Backward time. Definition. Reverse time is when time flows in the opposite direction to positive time, i.e., from the future back to the past. This notion is not common in everyday experience, but it is explored in theoretical physics and some science fiction works. Features. Theories of time travel. Reverse time is often seen in science fiction and theoretical physics discussions, involving issues such as time travel and time paradoxes. For example, if the flow of time can be reversed, philosophical and physical problems such as the grandfather paradox may arise. Challenges in physics. In the standard framework of physics, the reverse flow of time is a challenge because it would violate the laws of nature that we observe, such as the principle of entropy increase. Most laws of physics do not change in the reverse of time, temporal symmetry, but in reality the observed phenomenon is that time can only flow in the forward direction. 3. Static time. Definition. Static time refers to time that appears to be still or unchanging, i.e. time stops flowing at a certain point. In the state of static time, all events cease to progress with time, and time has no effect on everything. Features. Instantaneous freeze. Still time is often seen as a theoretical or philosophical concept that explores how time affects events and matter. If time stands still, then all physical processes and changes will stop without any dynamic changes. Mathematical models. In some physical theories, such as Einstein's theory of relativity, time can be seen as part of a four-dimensional spacetime that is closely connected to space. Under certain conditions, such as near the event horizon of a black hole, the flow of time can be greatly slowed down, which is theoretically similar to the state of quiescent time. 4. The philosophical and scientific significance of time. Philosophical significance. The nature of time. Philosophers discuss the nature, flow, and existence of time, proposing many theories about time, such as eternalism, where all points of time exist, and phenomenology, where only the present actually exists. Time and causality. The direction of time is closely related to causality, and we usually think of causality as one way, i.e., the cause comes first and the effect comes later. Scientific significance. Time symmetry of physical laws. Many physical laws are mathematically inversely symmetrical to time, such as some equations in Newtonian mechanics and quantum mechanics. However, the phenomena that are actually observed, such as the increase in entropy, show that the positive flow of time is the reality we experience. Time and relativity. In Einstein's theory of relativity, time and space combine to form space-time, and the speed at which time flows depends on the speed of the observer and the gravitational field. Under extreme conditions, such as near the speed of light or in a strong gravitational field, the flow of time can become very slow. Source: Science Monthly. In almost all the development of theoretical physics, physicists have not found the need to introduce flowing time. For example, the theory of relativity is only a static map of four-dimensional space-time. So the equations of theoretical physics seem to be missing the main dynamic nature of human mental time. Could it be that the passage of time is just a mental illusion on our minds? Human beings are born with a sense of time. Many kindergarten students are presumably aware of their growing up and their parents, especially grandparents, aging, before they know the space they exist. When they grow up, everyone can also realize that birth, old age, sickness, and death is the inevitable fate of life. Flowers can be broken straight and must be broken. Don't wait for no flowers to break the branches not only illustrates the existence of time, but also explains the unidirectional flow of time more clearly. In physics, time is not only impassive, but almost all the laws of physics have no distinction between past and future, that is, they have a mirror symmetry of time called t. For example, in Figure 1, two balls collide, starting from A, and becoming B, after colliding, thus, A is the past and B is the future. But physically it is impossible to distinguish between the past and the future. If someone makes a movie of the collision of the two balls, and then reflects it, we can't see anything wrong. Therefore, it will be concluded that B is the past, A is the future, the opposite of the past and the future of the main film. Therefore, physicists say that in the laws of physics, there is no difference between the past and the future. Could it be that past and future are just illusions in our psyche? Newton's belief that space and time are absolute, independent of our perceptions, is widely accepted by physicists. It wasn't until the advent of the special theory of relativity in 1905 that physicists truly realized that time and space were relative. They differed depending on the motion of the observer. Although under this new conception, my future may be your past, but it is quite different from the previous statement that the laws of physics have no past or future because the relative time of the two observers is involved. In the physics of a single observer, the theory of relativity is still symmetrical with the mirror image of the past and the future. Is there a field in physics that is time-directional? Some. Thermodynamics is a field of physics that has developed from the experience of everyday life. The experience of everyday life is inseparable from the unidirectionality of time, so thermodynamics is different from other fields of physics. It does not have the mirror symmetry of time. The most important second law of thermodynamics is simply our empirical statement: heat can only actively flow from high to low temperatures. If the heat is filmed from high temperature to low temperature into a film reflection, anyone knows that it is against common sense, and thermodynamics also says that it is a physical phenomenon that cannot happen. Thermodynamics is not based on mechanics, so although it is a product of the early 19th century, it is a major contributor to the revolution in quantum mechanics. If Newtonian mechanics is just a statement of our experience, then its second law is that an object can only fall from a high place to a low place on its own initiative, and it will not be affected by the two major physical revolutions of the early 20th century. But physics is an attempt to explain the experience of our daily life, so physicists certainly don't settle for just the statement of experience. They inevitably ask, why does heat only flow from high to low temperatures? In order not to be out of touch with history, we must in fact rewrite the second law of thermodynamics here: the entropy of an isolated system will always only increase. Entropy, S, is a concept developed in thermodynamics that is more important and widely applied than heat. For example, the law of increasing entropy not only states that ice will melt in water, heat can only actively flow from high to low temperatures, but it also predicts that if the barrier separating two different gases at the same temperature is removed, the two gases will eventually mix evenly. But why does the entropy of an isolated system always only increase? What is entropy? Long before most physicists admitted the existence of atoms, none of them thought that atoms or molecules in chemistry were atoms in physics. Ludwig Boltzmann, 1844–1906, was convinced that physical properties depend on the atoms they are composed of. While teaching at the University of Vienna, he was also influenced by the positivist philosopher E. Mach. In his later years, he spent much time defending his faith, but eventually hanged himself in 1906 while on vacation with his wife and daughter in Italy due to health and depression. A few months later, a number of physical experiments began to show signs of the presence of atoms. In 1908, the France physicist J. Petrin Perrin finally confirmed the physical phenomenon Brownian motion, which Einstein explained in 1905 by the irregular motion of molecules, the Avogadro number and the Boltzmann constant, which were measured by this theory and other methods. The existence of atoms was finally widely accepted by physicists 2 years after Boltzmann's death. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1926 for this experiment. Unfortunately, this was after Boltzmann's death, and due to the asymmetry of time, we can no longer tell him that his ideas have finally been confirmed. In the mid-19th century, before Boltzmann made his debut, some physicists tried to explain the difference in the state of gases in terms of the motion of atoms. Atoms themselves were thought to be small particles moving according to Newtonian mechanics. The properties of the gas in equilibrium, such as pressure and temperature, are the statistical average effect caused by the irregular motion of atoms. Boltzmann extended the theory of atomic motion to the case of disequilibrium and proposed the age theory in 1872, but how could the age theory derive thermodynamics with the unidirectionality of time due to the mirror symmetry of time? Where must Boltzmann sneakily infiltrate the asymmetry? In addition to Newton's laws, Boltzmann also made the assumption of molecular chaos, the motion or position of two small particles, atoms, about to collide is unrelated and random. Although almost all laws of physics are mirror symmetrical in time, there is no distinction between past and future, let alone the passage of time, but the study of the microscopic, mechanical basis of the second law of thermodynamics has led physicists to understand that based on statistical mechanics of probability, a physical system with an orderly, uneven impulse always actively develops towards a chaotic, flat impulse. Article 9. Antimatter. Source: ChatGPT. Antimatter is an important concept in physics that involves antiparticles that correspond to ordinary matter. Its existence and properties are important for understanding the basic workings of the universe and particle physics. Here's a detailed description of antimatter. 1. What is antimatter? Definition. Antimatter is matter made up of antiparticles, which are mirrored versions of ordinary particles. Each ordinary particle has a corresponding antiparticle with the same mass, but the charge is opposite to the other quantum numbers. Example: electrons and positrons. The antiparticle of an electron is a positron, also known as an anti-electron, that has the same mass as an electron but has an opposite charge. Positron has a positive charge and an electron has a negative charge. Plasmons and antiplasmons. The antiparticle of a plasmon is a plasmon, which has the same quality as the plasmon, but the charge is the opposite. The antiplasmon carries the charge, and the plasmon carries the positive charge. 2. Antimatter generation and reactions. Generate. High-energy collisions. In high-energy physics experiments, such as particle accelerators, antimatter can be generated by high-energy collisions. These collisions can convert large amounts of energy into mass, generating antiparticles. Naturally occurring, the production of antimatter can also be observed in cosmic rays. High-energy particles in cosmic rays collide with particles in the atmosphere to form antiparticles. React. Annihilation reaction. When antimatter meets ordinary matter, an annihilation reaction occurs, where the two annihilate each other and release energy. This annihilation typically produces high-energy photons, gamma rays, and other particles. For example, when a positron collides with an electron, 2 gamma rays are produced. Energy release. The energy released by the annihilation of antimatter and ordinary matter is extremely high, which makes antimatter have potential applications in energy and propulsion technology. 3. Experiments and applications of antimatter. Experiment. Particle accelerators. The generation and research of antimatter relies heavily on particle accelerators, such as CERN's Large Hadron Collider, LHC. These accelerators can generate and detect antiparticles and study their properties. Antimatter storage. Storing antimatter is a challenge in experiments, as antimatter quickly annihilates when it comes into contact with ordinary matter. Scientists use magnetic and electric fields to trap and store antimatter, such as antihydrogen atoms, made up of antiprotons and positrons. Apply. Medical imaging. Positron emission tomography, PET, is a medical imaging technique that uses positron TOM. This technology uses gamma rays produced by positron and electron annihilation to form images that can help diagnose diseases and study biological processes. Energy research. Although not yet realized, antimatter has an extremely high energy density and could theoretically be a potential source of energy in the future. There are still many technical challenges to the use of antimatter for energy generation or propulsion. 4. Antimatter and cosmology. Antimatter in the universe. Asymmetry of antimatter. Far more ordinary matter than antimatter is observed in the universe, which is inconsistent with the predictions of the Standard Model. This asymmetry between matter and antimatter is an important problem in cosmology and particle physics. The Big Bang Theory. According to the Big Bang Theory, the universe should have generated equal amounts of matter and antimatter in the early days, but why there is now mostly ordinary matter and almost no antimatter in the universe is still an open mystery. Antimatter and the Big Bang. The early years of the universe. In the early stages of the Big Bang, antimatter and matter were supposed to exist in symmetry. As the universe expands and cools, matter and antimatter should be annihilated in equal amounts, but why there is a surplus of matter in the end is still an important question in the study of physics. 5. Philosophical and scientific implications. Philosophical significance. Symmetry vs. Anti-symmetry. The existence of antimatter challenges our understanding of physical symmetry and the laws of nature. It prompts us to rethink the symmetries of matter and antimatter in the universe and the disruption of these symmetry. Scientific significance. Particle physics. the study of antimatter helps us understand elementary particles and their interactions, and provides insight into symmetry and particle interactions. Future technologies, although not yet realized, the potential of antimatter in energy and propulsion technologies has inspired the exploration of future technologies. Source: Wikipedia. Antimatter is an extension of the concept of antiparticles in particle physics, which is made up of antiparticles in the same way that ordinary matter is made of ordinary particles. For example, an antiproton and an anti-electron, positron, can form an antihydrogen atom, just as an electron and a proton form a hydrogen atom of ordinary matter. In addition, the combination of matter and antimatter will cause the annihilation of both particles in the same way as the combination of particles and antiparticles, and thus the release of high-energy photons, gamma rays, or other low-energy pairs of positive and negative particles. The kinetic energy of the particles caused by the annihilation of the positive and antimatter is equal to the kinetic energy of the original positive and antimatter pairs, plus the difference between the static mass of the original matter and the static mass of the generated particles, which usually accounts for the majority. Einstein's theory of relativity states that mass and energy are equivalent. Antimatter cannot be found in nature, and only exists in small quantities, e.g. due to phenomena such as radiation, decay, or cosmic rays. This is due to the fact that if antimatter does not exist in an artificial environment such as a physical laboratory, it will inevitably come into contact with natural matter and annihilate. Antiparticles and some stable antimatter, e.g., antihydrogen, can be artificially produced in very small amounts, but not enough to test the theory of these substances, although large quantities of positrons can be produced by instruments such as positron tomography. In science or science fiction, the focus is on why the universe as seen is almost full of matter, whether there are other places that are almost full of antimatter, and whether antimatter can be harnessed, and the baryon asymmetry that is evident in the current visible universe is one of the biggest problems in physics. Many of the possible physical processes were discovered during the exploration of baryons. Article 10. Parallel universes. Spirits can travel to all parallel universes. Source: ChatGPT. Parallel universes, also known as parallel worlds, multiverses, is a concept that is very appealing in both physics and science fiction. It refers to the existence of other universes parallel to our universe, each with its own unique physical laws, history, and reality. The idea that spirits can travel to all parallel universes involves the exploration of the philosophical and science fiction aspects of parallel universes. 1. The concept of parallel universes. Definition: Parallel universes refer to other universes that exist that are similar or different from ours. These universes may have different physical constants, historical events, or even different life forms. Theoretical background: Many worlds interpretation in quantum mechanics. According to the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, whenever a quantum event occurs, all possible outcomes are realized in different universes. This means that no matter what decisions we make in one universe, all other possible choices exist in other parallel universes. Cosmic expansion theory: In the cosmic expansion theory, the expansion of the universe may lead to the formation of different bubble universes, each with different physical laws and constants, and these bubble universes are not related to each other. 2. The concept of a spiritual journey to a parallel universe. Definition: Mental wandering refers to the ability of a mind or consciousness to travel through different parallel universes or worlds to observe, experience, or interact. It's a way of traveling beyond the physical entity and is often found in science fiction and fantasy works. Representation in science fiction and fantasy. Consciousness transfer. Some science fiction novels and movies depict the use of consciousness transfer techniques or special psychic abilities that allow a character's spirit to enter other parallel universes. For example, some of the episodes in The Man in the High Castle and Black Mirror involve consciousness traveling between different parallel worlds. Soul travel. In some fantasy and spiritual traditions, the soul or consciousness can travel or explore in different realities, which are sometimes seen as parallel universes or extra-dimensional spaces. Psychological and philosophical perspectives. The boundaries of consciousness. From a psychological and philosophical point of view, it is a controversial question whether spirits can realistically travel through parallel universes. The nature of consciousness and whether it can be explored separately from the physical entity remains an unsolved mystery. Hallucinations and fantasies. The experience of a spiritual trip may be interpreted as a hallucination or fantasy rather than a real multiverse exploration. These experiences may reflect an individual's inner state of mind or an imagination of a parallel world. 3 Technological and theoretical challenges. Experiments and theories. Difficulty in observation. There is currently no practical way to observe or verify the existence of parallel universes. Most theories about parallel universes are still hypothetical and cannot be directly tested. Consciousness travel. Scientific evidence for whether consciousness is capable of traveling through parallel universes does not currently exist. This kind of view belongs more to the realm of science fiction and fantasy than to the scientific study of reality. Philosophy and ethics. Ethical issues in parallel universes. If consciousness is able to enter parallel universes, this may raise a range of ethical questions, such as regarding individual privacy, moral responsibility, and the impact on the inhabitants of parallel worlds. Source: Wikipedia. Multiverse, Moniverse, Megaverse, Omniverse, Parallel Universe, a hypothesis that has not yet been proven in physics. It is likely that there are other universes outside of our universe that are a reaction to the possible states of the universe, and that these universes may or may not have the same fundamental physical constants as we know the universe. The different universes within the multiverse are referred to as parallel universes, flat universes, other universes, alternate universes, multiverses, flat universes, mother-child universes, multiverses, many worlds, or infinite universes. A common assumption is that the multiverse is a patchwork of different universes, all governed by the same laws of physics. The term multiverse was coined by William James, a United States philosopher and psychologist, in 1895. Parallel universes are often used to illustrate that the subsequent development of a different course of events or a different decision exists in different parallel universes. This theory is also often used to explain other paradoxes, such as the paradox about time travel, such as a ball falls into a time tunnel, goes back in time and crashes into itself, thus making it impossible to enter the time tunnel. In addition to assuming that time travel is impossible, it can also be explained by parallel universes, and according to the parallel universe theory, the ball crashing into itself and not crashing into itself are 2 different parallel universes. In modern times, this theory has given rise to a great deal of scientific, philosophical, and theological questions, and science fiction has a penchant for using the concept of parallel universes. Article 11. The Principle of Time Travel. Source: ChatGPT. Time travel is a subject that is both fascinating in science fiction and theoretical physics. It deals with how to move through time and space to change or observe past, present, and future events. Here's a closer look at the principles and concepts of time travel. 1. Theoretical foundations of time travel. 1.1. Einstein's theory of relativity. Special theory of relativity. 1905. Einstein's special theory of relativity proposed the unified concept of time and space, space-time. According to the special theory of relativity, time and space are interrelated, and the passage of time changes with the speed of the object. This means that time slows down as an object approaches the speed of light, and this effect is known as time dilation. General theory of relativity. 1915. Einstein's general theory of relativity further expanded the concept of space-time, explaining gravity as the curvature of space-time. Massive objects, such as black holes, can bend space-time, affecting the passage of time. Time will pass more slowly in a strong gravitational field than in a weaker gravitational field. 1.2. Theoretical mechanisms of time travel. Space-time tunnel, wormhole. A wormhole is a hypothetical space-time structure that connects 2 different points or different points in time in the universe. Theoretically, wormholes can be used to achieve fast travel or time travel, but there is currently no practical evidence to support the existence of wormholes. Time machine. According to Einstein's equations, a time machine can be designed in some special cases, such as the Wild-Rosen bridge, that allows objects or information to travel through different points in time. However, such designs often involve matter that exceeds the speed of light or matter with negative energy, which is still unachievable in reality. 2. The challenge of time travel. 2.1. The time paradox. The grandfather paradox. If a person goes back in time and changes certain events, such as killing his grandfather, then he himself would not have been born, which creates a contradiction. This paradox shows the problem of self-consistency that time travel can bring. Self-consistency principle. To solve the time paradox, certain theories propose the principle of self-consistency, which states that the behavior of any time traveler must conform to established events in history, thus avoiding paradoxical situations. 2.2. Energy and material requirements. Negative energy. Some theories, such as the theory of wormholes, predict that negative energy is needed to maintain the stability of wormholes. Negative energy is a hypothetical mass that has not been observed experimentally at the moment. Speed of light limit. According to the existing laws of physics, no object can exceed the speed of light. Time travel involves matter or energy that exceeds the speed of light, which has not yet been proven possible in reality. 3. Philosophy and experimentation. 3.1. Philosophical influences. Causality. The concept of time travel challenges causality, which is the association between cause and effect. Time travel may break this basic causal structure, raising philosophical questions about free will and fate. Multiverse theory. To avoid the paradox of time, some theories have proposed the concept of a multiverse, where the actions of time travelers create new parallel universes without affecting the original universe. 3.2. Experimental exploration. High-energy physics experiments. Scientists are currently exploring the behavior of elementary particles through high-energy physics experiments that help us understand the nature of space-time, but the phenomenon of time travel has not yet been directly observed. Cosmic observations. By observing phenomena in the universe under extreme conditions, such as black holes and neutron stars, scientists hope to gain more information about the structure of space-time, but these observations still fail to prove or enable time travel. Source: Wikipedia. Time travel, also known as time travel, or travel through time and space, generally refers to the movement of people or objects from one point in time to another, similar to the movement in space. Everything moves naturally with time, minute by minute, so time travel here is simply a way of violating this natural temporal variation, to the future, or to the past. This is a well-known concept in philosophical and fictional works. Time travel is usually carried out through imaginary time machines, a concept that was introduced in 1895 H.G. Wells' novel Time Machine became popular. Based on current physics, it is not possible to determine whether it is possible to go back in time, under the framework of special relativity and general relativity. Time travel towards the future is well understood and is a phenomenon that has been observed extensively. However, today's technology cannot make it possible for one thing to be more than a few milliseconds in time or to be delayed by more than a few milliseconds relative to another. As for backtracking time travel, it is not impossible to find a general relativity solution that allows for this, but it may be physically impossible to meet the conditions for that solution. Theoretical physics has very limited support for time travel, often involving only quantum mechanics or wormholes. Article 12. Time traveler. Source: ChatGPT. Time travelers are imaginary characters or beings who are able to travel through time and space. They are frequently featured in science fiction, movies, TV series, and other mediums, exploring the world of the future or the past. Time travelers typically involve the following important concepts. 1. The way of time travel. 1.1. Time machine. Sci-fi classic. A time machine is a hypothetical device that enables its users to travel to different points in time. For example, H.G. Herbert George Wells' The Time Machine in Wells' Time Machine is one of the earliest depictions. Modern depictions. In modern science fiction, the concept of a time machine is used in a wide range of ways, from simple mechanisms to more complex technological gadgets. 1.2. Wormholes. Theoretical model. A wormhole is a hypothetical space-time structure that connects two different points in the universe and may enable fast travel or time travel. This concept is based on the Einstein-Rosen bridge theory, but no actual wormholes have been observed. Science fiction depictions. In science fiction works, wormholes are often used as a means of traveling through time and space, such as those used in the movie Interstellar. 1.3. Time folding. Theoretical discussion. Time folding refers to the realization of time leaps by manipulating the structure of space-time in some theories. This often involves extreme physical conditions, such as movement close to the speed of light. Sci-fi depictions. This concept appears in many sci-fi stories, such as the warp engine mentioned in Star Trek. Two types of time travelers. 2.1. Past travelers. Time traveler, able to travel back in time to observe or alter historical events. This type of time traveler has been featured in many works, such as Marty McFly in the film Back to the Future series. Historical influences. Travelers in the past are often at risk of altering history, which can lead to a temporal paradox or a rewriting of history. 2.2. Future traveler. Foreseeing the future, being able to travel to the future to observe or change the situation in the future. For example, fighters who are able to foresee the future are described in the film Tomorrow's Frontier. Future societies. These travelers are often involved in issues such as future technology, social structures, and human evolution. 2.3. Alternate universe travelers. Multiverse, ability to travel through different parallel universes and explore worlds that are slightly different from our universe. For example, the parallel world travel mentioned in the TV series Black Mirror. Alternate realities. This type of traveler often deals with ethical and philosophical issues in alternate worlds. 3. The challenges and paradoxes of time travel. 3.1. The grandfather paradox. Definition. The grandfather paradox refers to the fact that if a person goes back in time and changes certain key events, such as killing his grandfather, then he himself would not have been born, thus forming a logical contradiction. Solution. Some theories such as the self-congruence principle and the multiverse theory suggest possible solutions, arguing that the actions of time travelers create new parallel universes and thus avoid contradictions. 3.2. Contradiction and self-consistency. Time contradictions. Time travel can trigger temporal contradictions, such as how past actions affect the present situation. The principle of self-consistency. Some theories suggest that the behavior of any time traveler must be consistent with the history that has already occurred in order to maintain the self-consistency of time. 3.3. Energy and material requirements. Negative energy. Some theories of space-time travel, such as wormholes, predict that negative energy is needed to maintain the structure of space-time, but there is currently no practical evidence to support the existence of negative energy. Speed of light limit. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, the speed of light is the limit of speed in the universe. Any design that implements time travel must take this limitation into account. 4. The cultural influence of the time traveler. 4.1. Literature and film and television. Classics. Time travelers are often featured in literature and film, such as Herbert George Wells' Time Machine, the film Back to the Future series, and Interstellar. Modern medium. The concept of time travel is still very popular in modern mediums, exploring a variety of sci-fi plots and philosophical issues. 4.2. Philosophy and ethics. Free will and fatality. Time travel challenges philosophical questions of free will and fatalism, discussing how to balance individual behavior with established history. Ethical considerations. The possibility of changing the past or future raises ethical debates, such as whether history should be intervened to improve the status quo. Article 13. The physical body is the past, consciousness is the present, and prediction, prevention, is the future. Source: ChatGPT. 1. The flesh is the past. History of the flesh. Biological perspective. Our flesh carries our past. Every cell and tissue records our physiological history, including growth, disease, and environmental influences. These all shape our physiology and health. Physiological memory, for example, the body's memories, e.g., motor skills, habitual behaviors, are a direct reflection of our past experiences. These physiological memories influence the way we behave and react. Historical influences. Past experiences, our physical condition and health are also influenced by past experiences, such as past diet, exercise habits, and lifestyle. These experiences have shaped our current physiology. 2. Consciousness is now. Perception of the moment. Instantaneous experience. Consciousness is our direct experience of the present moment. It involves our real-time perceptions, thoughts, and emotions. Awareness allows us to feel and react to the situation as we are. Decision-making and behavior. Our consciousness makes decisions and behaviors in the present moment, which influences how we deal with current issues and challenges. It's also the main way we face the real world. Psychological state. Present focus. The focus of consciousness is on the current situation and problem. Our thoughts and emotions often revolve around the environment and situation we are currently in. 3. Prediction, prevention, is the future. Future predictions. Forecasting and planning. Forecasting involves forecasting and planning for future situations. By predicting possible future scenarios, we are able to develop plans and take action to address potential challenges or opportunities. Preventive measures. Preventive measures are based on predictions of future risks, such as health prevention, risk management, and emergency preparedness. These measures are aimed at reducing the problems that may be faced in the future. Future scenario. Goal setting. Anticipating future needs and challenges helps us set long-term goals and develop a plan to achieve them. This involves imagining and strategizing what the future will look like. 4. Integrate these perspectives. Links to the time. Body, consciousness, and future. The body carries the history of the past, the consciousness is in the present, and the prediction is aimed at the future. The relationship between these three shows how time works in our lives. The past influences our present, the awareness of the present helps us face reality, and prediction prepares us for the future. Application in practice. Self-management. Understanding how these time levels interact can help us manage our lives better. By looking back at past experiences, physical, focusing on the present situation, awareness, and planning for the future, prediction, we can achieve balance and growth in our lives. Psychology and health. These perspectives can also be applied to the field of psychology and health to help us understand how to promote mental and physical health by managing the effects of the past, focusing on experiences in the present, and making plans for the future. Article 14. The future is determined by the past, cause and effect. Source: ChatGPT. 1. Causation. Causal chain. Historical influences. Our past experiences, behaviors, and decisions have a direct impact on our future. Every past event can trigger a chain reaction that will ultimately shape our future. Legacy of the past. An individual's life experiences and social history can have an impact on the future. For example, factors such as family background, education, social environment, etc., can influence our choices and opportunities. Causal inference. Predicting the future. We can predict the future based on past patterns and trends. For example, economists base their predictions on future market trends based on past economic data. 2. Psychological and physical effects. Psychological perspective. Influence of past experiences. Our mental states and behavioral patterns are often influenced by past experiences. These experiences shape our values, beliefs, and ways of reacting, which in turn influence our future behaviors and choices. Trauma and recovery. Past traumatic or difficult experiences can have a long-term impact on our mental health, influencing how we face future challenges. Physiological perspective. Health status. Past lifestyles and healthy habits can affect our current health status, which in turn affects future health outcomes. For example, past diet and exercise habits have an important impact on future health. 3. History and culture. Social impact. Historical events. Social and historical events have a profound impact on future developments. For example, major events in history, e.g., wars, political changes, shape the structure of society and the direction of its future. Cultural heritage. The transmission of culture and values influences future social and personal behavior. Traditions and customs shape future lifestyles and social structures. Personal and collective memory. Collective memory. The collective memory and historical experience of a society can influence future social behavior and cultural development. For example, collective memory of certain historical events influences policymaking and societal attitudes. 4. Decision-making and action. Choices and consequences. Past decisions. Our past decisions and actions can shape real-world situations that can influence our future choices and opportunities. Reflection and adjustment. By reflecting on past experiences, we can adjust future behaviors and decisions to improve future outcomes. Long-term effects. Habit formation. Past behavioral habits form future behavioral patterns. Ongoing habits and behaviors can have long-term effects on our future lives. 5. Resilience for the future. Change and adaptation. Uncertainty about the future. Although the past has a great impact on the future is still somewhat resilient. We can influence and change future outcomes through our actions and choices in the present. Adaptation and adaptation. We can adapt our behaviors and plans based on past experiences to adapt to future challenges and opportunities. Source: Wikipedia. The theory of cause and effect, Sanskrit, Hechuphala, in Buddhism, is a doctrine that deals with the laws of karma that exist, and that the laws of cause and effect do not act on people because they do not exist. The cause of the created karma refers to the action, not necessarily one of the causes or effects. Retribution is effect, and cause and effect are born together, which is called karma or karma. Cause and effect connect the past, present and future, and are called 3 lifetimes of cause and effect. Article 15. Destiny. Source: ChatGPT. Fatality is a concept that involves fate, luck, and a predetermined ending, and it has been interpreted differently in different cultures, philosophies, and religions. Here's a closer look at fate. 1. Definition of fate. Basic concepts. Fate refers to the idea that the main events and outcomes of life are predetermined by some external force or natural law. Fatalism holds that no matter what choices we make, our end result is immutable. Association concept. Destiny. It is often used interchangeably with fate, but sometimes fate emphasizes more on a corollary, while fate focuses more on the predestination of those outcomes. 2. Manifestations of fate in different cultures and religions. 2.1. Western culture. Ancient Greece mythology. In ancient Greece mythology, Fate, Moirai, were 3 goddesses who weaved the destiny of mankind. Even the gods could not change the outcome of fate, showing the powerful influence of fate in Greece mythology. Christianity. In Christianity, the concept of fatalism is associated with the omnipotence and predestination of God. Some Christian denominations believe that God's will and plan determine the fate of mankind, but others emphasize the importance of free will. 2.2. Oriental culture. India religion. In India religion, karma is associated with the concept of karma. Karma refers to the fact that a person's actions affect their future destiny. Karma is seen here as a result related to karma. Buddhism believes that while karma affects one's destiny, through practice and enlightenment, one can still transcend the bondage of karma and achieve liberation. In Taoism, the concept of fatalism is often associated with the laws of nature and the balance of yin and yang. Taoism emphasizes conformity with nature, which can be seen as an acceptance and adjustment of fate. 2.3. Confucianism and Chinese culture. Confucianism. In Confucian philosophy, Confucianism emphasizes the impact of human efforts and moral behavior on life, and the acceptance of fate is based on Confucian rational thinking. Even if you want to follow the mandate of heaven, you need to strive to improve yourself. Ancient Chinese philosophy. In ancient Chinese philosophy, fate is often associated with the mandate of heaven, which is seen as the natural law of the universe and the arrangement of fate. People can conform to their destiny by doing good deeds and cultivating themselves. 3. Fatalism vs. free will. Fatalism. Fatalistic view. Fatalism holds that everything is predestined and that no matter how hard we try, we cannot change the final outcome. This view emphasizes the dominant role of external forces or the laws of the universe. Fatalistic comfort. For some people, accepting karma can bring comfort and accept life's difficulties because they believe that everything is predestined. Free will. The perspective of free will. Libertarians believe that people's actions and decisions can change their future, emphasizing the autonomy of individuals and the importance of choice. Moral responsibility. The view of free will is often closely related to moral responsibility because if we are able to choose freely, then we are responsible for our actions and results. 4. Fatalism and modern thinking. Philosophical discussion. Fate and science. Modern scientific views of fate often rely on the understanding of physics and biology. Although the law of cause and effect in physics and genetics in biology affect human destiny, science has not yet fully explained the relationship between free will and fate. Psychology and fatality. Psychological research has shown that an individual's beliefs and ways of thinking can influence their behavior and life outcomes. Fatalistic beliefs can influence people's mindset and coping strategies. Modern culture. Self-improvement. In modern culture, there is a tension between the concept of self-improvement and personal development and the fatalistic view. Many people believe that they can change their destiny through hard work and self-change. Philosophy of life. Some modern philosophies of life emphasize the acceptance of uncertainty in reality, an attitude that is sometimes seen as a modern interpretation of fate. Source: Wikipedia. Fatalism, English, fatalism, German, fatalismus, from Latin fatalis, or fate, fate, etc., is a worldview according to which events in nature and society are predetermined by a higher power, such as a god, or based on logical necessity. In the view of fatalists, the coincidence of fate is inevitable and cannot be countered by the human will. However, this does not necessarily mean that human decisions and actions are meaningless. The fatalistic belief that being is at its own mercy is linked to the emotional states and attitudes to life that are shaped by it, i.e. obedience/obedience to fate, German, Schicksalsergebenheit. Fatalism is characterized by the assumption of a universally functioning authority, or a logical inevitability that determines the course of history and the fate of individuals from the very beginning. The power to decide can be the will of God who plans and arranges the course of events from the beginning, or it can be the inhuman forces that prescribe a fixed process within the framework of the cosmic order. Another proof hypothesis may be the same as the actual equation as a logical requirement. The approach of causal determinism differs from these fatalistic concepts, which explain all events as the inevitable consequences of their causes within the framework of seamless natural law causality. In general, fatalism is primarily understood as a willingness to accept the presumed inevitability of the fateful process. Fatalistic attitudes range from the acceptance of immutable obedience, to the passionate praise of existing situations, and the individual who heroically asserts oneself in them. To emphasize the affirmation of fate, Friedrich Nietzsche coined the Latin term love of fate. In philosophy and theology, the related discourse of fatalism and determinism has always been controversial. Philosophically, fixation of the future is usually justified by the universal validity of the principle of duality, according to which statements about the future are either true or untrue, regardless of the effects of time. This concept is known as logical fatalism. Religious fatalism has a different starting point, and it is based on the concept of fatalism, i.e., divine fatalism, derived from revelation or prophecy. Particularly powerful manifestations in history are the predestinationist doctrines of the Stoics, Christian Calvinists, and Islam. Astrology fatalism, which associates the power of fate with horoscopes, is a special case. As a cross-cultural phenomenon, fatalism manifests itself in mythology and popular belief traditions as fate-related deities. Both fatalism and determinism are widely rejected because of their ethical consequences. Critics claim that it paralyzes action, denies human autonomy and weakens moral responsibility. Article 16. Collective subconscious. Source: ChatGPT. Collective unconscious is a psychological concept proposed by Switzerland psychologist Carl Jung, refers to an underlying mental structure shared by all human beings, which contains common archetypes and experiences. This concept has an important place in psychology and anthropology, and the following is a detailed discussion of the collective unconscious. 1. Conceptual background. 1.1. Individual subconscious and collective subconscious. Personal subconscious refers to the unconscious part of each person's individual mind, which contains personal experiences, memories, and emotions. Collective subconscious. Unlike the individual subconscious, the collective subconscious is a cross-cultural and cross-era common psychological structure that contains common psychological archetypes and experiences of human beings. 1.2. Jung's theory. Archetypes. Jung believed that the collective unconscious contains many archetypes, such as mothers, heroes, wise men, etc., which are common human psychological structures that influence our thoughts and behaviors. Universality. These archetypes are not limited by culture or personal experience, but are pervasive in the subconscious of all human beings and manifest themselves in different forms and contents. 2. The core concept of collective latent consciousness. 2.1. Prototypes. Definition. Archetypes are fundamental elements in the collective subconscious that represent the common experience and psychological structure of human beings. These archetypes appear in similar forms in different cultures and myths. Example. Mother archetype represents the trait of caring, nurturing, and protecting, and is commonly found in mythological and literary images of mothers. Hero archetype represents the traits of courage and adventure, embodied in many myths and heroic stories. 2.2. Mental images. Symbols and symbols. Archetypes in the collective subconscious often come in the form of symbols and symbols that have far-reaching meanings in dreams, art, and religion. Dreams. Jung believed that images and symbols in dreams are manifestations of archetypes in the collective subconscious, reflecting the mental structures we share. 3. The influence of the collective subconscious. 3.1. Personal psychology. Subconscious influences. Archetypes in the collective subconscious affect an individual's emotions, dreams, and behavior. For example, a person may seek protection or care because of a potential maternal archetype. The process of individuation. Jung believed that individuals interact with archetypes in the collective subconscious during their psychological development, which is part of the process of individuation, that is, the process by which the individual realizes himself. 3.2. Culture and society. Cultural expressions. Archetypes in the collective subconscious manifest themselves in different cultures in the form of mythology, religion, and art, and these cultural manifestations reflect the shared psychological experience of humanity. Social phenomena. Some social phenomena and cultural trends may be related to archetypes in the collective unconscious, for example, manifestations of collective anxiety and collective trauma. 4. Criticism and controversy. 4.1. Theoretical criticism. Scientific verification. The concept of the collective subconscious is difficult to empirically study with scientific methods, so there is a certain controversy in the psychology community. Cultural differences. Some critics argue that the collective unconscious places too much emphasis on universality and ignores the influence of cultural and individual differences on psychological structures. 4.2. Modern research. Neuroscience. Modern neuroscience's understanding of the unconscious mind is based more on brain structure and function, with different interpretations of theories of the collective unconscious. Psychological research. Several psychologists and anthropologists are exploring how the concept of the collective unconscious can be integrated with modern psychology and cultural studies. 5. Application and enlightenment. 5.1. Psychotherapy. Jungian psychotherapy. Jungian psychotherapy emphasizes understanding archetypes in the collective subconscious to help individuals explore their inner conflicts and potentials. Dream analysis. Analyzing symbols in dreams can reveal archetypes in the collective subconscious, which in turn can promote psychological healing. 5.2. Arts and culture. Creative inspiration. Many artists and writers are inspired by archetypes in the collective subconscious to create works that are rich in symbolic meaning. Cultural studies. The concept of the collective unconscious can help us understand common themes and symbols in different cultures. Source: Wikipedia. The collective unconscious is a concept of holistic mental architecture proposed by Switzerland psychologist Carl Gustav Jung. Jung believed that human beings can be layered into 3 levels, from shallow to deep: consciousness, self, individual unconscious, complex, and collective unconscious, archetype, which is different from Sigmund Freud's psychological structure. The collective unconscious is the unconscious at the lowest level of the personality structure. The difference between the collective unconscious and the individual unconscious is that it is not a forgotten part, but something that we are never aware of. Jung once used the analogy of islands, and the small islands that emerge from the water are the consciousness that people can perceive. The part of the ground beneath the surface of the water, which is revealed by the ebb and flow of the tide, is the personal unconscious, and the lowest level of the island is the seabed as a base, which is our collective unconscious. Article 17. Predict the future. Source: ChatGPT. Predicting the future is a process that involves speculating and foreseeing future events, and it has important applications in science, technology, economy, society, and personal life. Forecasting the future can be based on past data, trend analysis, modeling, or other methods. Here's a closer look at predicting the future. 1. A way to predict the future. 1.1. Data analysis. Historical data. Speculate on future trends based on past data. For example, economists use historical economic data to forecast economic growth or recession. Trend analysis. Predict future changes by analyzing patterns and trends in your data. Common methods include regression analysis and time series analysis. 1.2. Modeling. Mathematical modeling. Use mathematical equations and computer simulations to predict the future. For example, meteorologists use meteorological models to predict the weather. System modeling. Models of complex systems, such as ecosystems or economic systems, are built to predict the future behavior of the system. 1.3. Machine learning. Predictive algorithms. Use machine learning algorithms, e.g., regression analysis, decision trees, neural networks, to predict future events. These algorithms are capable of processing large amounts of data and extracting underlying patterns. Predictive model training. Predict future outcomes by training a model, and the model learns and adjusts based on historical data. 1.4. Expert forecasts. Expert opinion. Rely on the experience and knowledge of experts to predict the future. For example, an industry expert may make a prediction based on their knowledge of market trends. The Delphi method. Consensus on forecasts is reached through multiple rounds of surveying expert opinions, which is often used in areas of high uncertainty. 1.5. Trend extrapolation. Linear extrapolation, linear extension based on past data trends to predict future changes. Nonlinear extrapolation, use complex mathematical models to account for nonlinear trends and predict future changes. To anticipate future challenges. 2.1. Uncertainty. Natural variables. Future events are affected by many unpredictable natural variables, such as climate change, earthquakes, etc. Human factors. The unpredictability of human behavior and decision-making can also affect future outcomes. 2.2. Data issues. Data quality. Inaccurate or incomplete data can affect the accuracy of predictions. Data volume. Large amounts of data are needed to improve forecast accuracy, but data collection and processing can also be challenging. 2.3. Model limitations. Model assumptions. All models have certain assumptions that may not fully correspond to reality. Model error. Predictive models can be incorrect, especially when faced with complex and dynamic systems. 2.4. External interference. Unexpected events. Unexpected events such as political crises and economic collapses can have a significant impact on forecasts. Technological change. The rapid development and change of technology can make past forecasting methods obsolete. 3. Predict future applications. 3.1. Business and economics. Market forecasting. Businesses use market forecasting to develop strategies and plans. For example, forecasting consumer demand to adjust product offerings. Risk management. Predicting future risks can help you develop a risk management plan to reduce potential losses. 3.2. Scientific research. Climate prediction. Meteorologists use climate models to predict climate change and develop responses. Medical prediction. Predictive models are used in medical research to predict the development and effect of a disease and help inform treatment options. 3.3. Policy development. Policy analysis. Policymakers use forecasts to assess the potential impact of policies and make more informed decisions. Public safety. Predicting future disaster risks can help develop public safety plans to keep people safe. 3.4. Personal life. Financial planning. Individuals use forecasts to plan their finances, such as retirement savings plans and investment strategies. Health management. Anticipating health risks can help you develop preventive measures and promote healthy lifestyles. 4. Ethical and social implications of future projections. 4.1. Privacy issues. Data privacy. Predicting that a large amount of data will be needed in the future, which may involve personal privacy issues, and data use and privacy protection need to be balanced. 4.2. Social impact. Decision implications. Predictions may affect policy and social decisions that affect a wide range of people, and careful consideration needs to be given to the accuracy and fairness of the forecasts. Psychological effects. Predictions about the future can affect people's mental states and behaviors, such as feeling anxious or expectant about the uncertainty of the future. Article 18. Déjà vu. Source: ChatGPT. Déjà vu is a psychological phenomenon in which a person feels as if the current situation or experience has happened before, even though they know it is a new experience. This sensation is usually short-lived and may be accompanied by a strong sense of familiarity or delusion. Here's a closer look at déjà vu. 1. Definition and characteristics of déjà vu. 1.1. Definitions. Déjà vu in French, which means already seen, refers to the feeling of being in a particular situation as if you had experienced the same situation or situation, even though it was actually a new experience. Characteristics of the senses. The sense of déjà vu is usually accompanied by a strong sense of familiarity, even if it is intellectually known that this is the first time to experience the situation. This phenomenon can be confusing or unsettling. 1.2. Frequency of experience. Universality. Déjà vu is a relatively common experience that many people encounter in their lives. Frequency. The frequency of déjà vu varies from person to person. Some people may experience it many times, others rarely or never. 2 possible explanations for déjà vu. 2.1. Memory theory. Memory errors. Some studies suggest that déjà vu may be due to memory errors or confusion. When the brain processes new information, it may mistakenly recognize it as a situation that has already been experienced. Interference between short-term and long-term memory. Sometimes, the interference between short-term and long-term memory can cause people to feel like a new situation has already been experienced. 2.2. Neuroscience explanations. Brain activity. Neuroscience research suggests that déjà vu may be associated with abnormal activity in certain areas of the brain, such as the temporal lobe, responsible for memory and recognition, or the hippocampus, associated with memory formation and recall. Brain delays. It has been theorized that déjà vu may be due to delays in the brain's processing of information, causing new experiences to be falsely perceived as having already occurred. 2.3. Psychological explanations. Attention and cognition. Psychologists believe that déjà vu may be related to attention and cognitive processes. For example, when people's attention is distracted, new experiences may be mistakenly identified as familiar. Situational familiarity. Sometimes, certain environments or situations may feel familiar, even if it's the first time you've experienced such a situation. This condition may be related to the similarity of the environment or the state of mind. 2.4. Mental health and déjà vu. Stress and anxiety. Studies have shown that stress and anxiety may increase the frequency of déjà vu. When people are in a state of anxiety or stress, the way the brain processes may change. Epilepsy and neurological disorders. In some cases, déjà vu may be associated with epilepsy or other neurological disorders. For example, people with temporal lobe epilepsy may experience frequent déjà vu. 3 Scientific research on the sense of déjà vu. 3.1. Research methodology. Laboratory research. Scientists explore the causes of déjà vu through laboratory studies involving brain imaging techniques such as functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, and electroencephalography, EEG. Case studies. Case studies are also used to understand individual differences in déjà vu and possible psychological or physiological underpinnings. 3.2. Research results. Neuroscience findings. Some studies have found that déjà vu may be related to errors in the brain's processing of information, particularly in memory and cognition. Psychological findings. Psychological research suggests that déjà vu may be related to attention and situational familiarity, and may be influenced by an individual's psychological state. 4. A cultural and philosophical perspective of déjà vu. 4.1. Cultural perspectives. Religion and mysticism. In some religious and mystic traditions, déjà vu is seen as a sign of some kind of supernatural or spiritual experience. For example, some cultures believe that déjà vu may be associated with the reincarnation of a soul or events that foreshadow the future. Popular culture. Déjà vu is often portrayed as a mystical or paranormal phenomenon in popular culture and is often featured in films, literature, and media. 4.2. Philosophical perspectives. Existentialism. Existentialist philosophies may explore the impact of déjà vu on individual existence and consciousness, and analyze its challenges to self-perception and existence. Philosophy of time. Some philosophical perspectives on time may consider the sense of déjà vu understanding of the passage of time and experience, and explore the nonlinearity and cognitive processes of time. Source: Wikipedia. Déjà vu, or déjà vu or hallucinatory memory, refers to a common phenomenon that people perceive to be seeing a scene for the first time while awake, but instantly feel as if they have experienced it before, which has been widely reported. Special sharing, myth-busting. Source: Medium. The John Titto Affair, the Philadelphia Experiment, the Montauk Project, the Streets That Went Back in Time. These urban anecdotes still linger and arouse curiosity. So, are these events real or are they just gossip? Do these events all prove the blind spots of current science and technology, and mean that there is a certain degree of feasibility in traveling through time and space? In the 21st century, the flood of science pervades our lives. At the same time, there are also many anecdotes closely related to scientific themes circulating in the streets and alleys. Time travel has always been a popular theme for science fiction fans, and in recent years, the World War II era, and even ancient books, there are more or less some sentences that are still discussed as the existence of time travel. Even on the internet, there are many websites, photos, and celebrities chattering endlessly. So, are these anecdotes true or false? We will list 10 examples of time travel that have been widely circulated on the internet and dispel myths one by one. 1. The time traveler who appears in the 1928 film. Event: in 1928, almost 100 years ago, there was a scene in the famous comedian Charlie Chaplin's film The Circus that caused a lot of discussion among netizens today. In this picture, a woman seems to be holding a mobile phone to talk and laugh. However, the mobile phone was only popularized after the 1990s. As a result, all sorts of theories about time travelers have come flooding in. Analysis: however, in recent years, many weekly magazines have analyzed it, and experts agree that the woman in the image is holding a hearing aid that was newly invented and marketed in that era, not a mobile phone. 2. Hipsters who travel through time. Event: during the opening of a bridge in Canada in 1941, an incredible photograph was taken. A man in the crowd was dressed in a very different fashion from the time. The man's makeup was completely inconsistent with the 1940s, and the pair of sunglasses, the t-shirt, and the camera in his hand were not what they were seen at the time. As a result, the man in the photo is referred to as a time-traveling hipster. Analysis: however, it is not impossible for experts to believe that the man in the photograph was dressed in the 1940s. After all, the invention of the sunglasses dates back to the 1920s, and the men wore sweatshirts that closely resembled the hockey teams that were prevalent at the time. The reason for the abruptness may be that the other people in the photo are dressed more conservatively, but that doesn't mean that the novelty of the men's clothing is from the future. In addition, many experts have questioned that the photo has been edited by Photoshop. Therefore, this image alone is difficult to point to evidence of time travel. 3. Mobile phones haunted in the 1960s. Event: in the 1962 World Cup in Chile, when Brazil won the championship, a picture of picking up a mobile phone can be seen in the video. Could it be that someone really traveled back in time to see the game? Analysis: this is not the case. This photo, which circulated on the internet in 2007, has been found to have a higher resolution photo through image comparison in recent years. In fact, it may be a dual mirror reflex camera in the photo, and there are still other people holding this camera in the original picture, but due to the inaccurate resolution, people misjudged. 4. Laptops from 100 BC. Event: in addition to recent images, many ancient artworks often point to signs of time travel. In the island of Delos in Greece, there is a sculpture from 100 BC, in which the picture above we can clearly see the maid holding an object very similar to a laptop in both hands. Of course, many people thought that it was just a wax board that was prevalent at the time. But, in general, the wax plates seen on the artwork are almost always women holding pens. On the other hand, there are 2 holes on the side of the object, which resemble the interface of today's laptops. Analysis: in fact, the work is housed in a museum in Los Angeles, and the object on the relief is actually a jewelry box, while the hole next to it may be a mosaic decoration. However, due to its age, there are partially lost laptops that have not traveled through time. 5. The Philadelphia Experiment. Event. When it comes to time travel and the government's secret experiments, the most representative is the Philadelphia Experiment, also known as the Rainbow Project. The rumor describes it this way: on October 28, 1943, the United States Navy conducted a classified test at a dock in Philadelphia, in which the ship USS Eldridge distorted the surrounding light and radio waves through a huge electromagnetic field, and then a green mist emerged, and the ship was invisible not only on radar, but in full view. During one test, the ship is said to have disappeared and appeared in Virginia, miles away, before teleporting back to its original location a few seconds later. After this test, the crew of the ship all showed symptoms such as dizziness, vomiting, and even insanity, including the flesh of 5 crew members fused with the steel of the ship's hull, and there were also crew members who disappeared, and even the crew members of the Philadelphia Experiment appeared out of thin air in the bar after the fact. Analysis. After the spread of this classified experiment, many people believed that the experiment may involve speculation such as bending time and space, turning back time by 10 seconds. However, the experiment was also refuted by the United States Navy, and scientists pointed out that the logic of the experiment did not conform to the laws of physics. And perhaps even more disappointing for science fiction fans, the rumor actually originated in 1955 by Morris Jessup, a paranormal columnist and author of many UFO features, and as a result, the Philadelphia Experiment has been widely dismissed as a hoax. 6. Project Montauk. Event. One of the urban legends that went hand in hand with the Philadelphia Experiment was the Montauk Project. The rumor points out that in the 1970s and 80s, the United States government conducted a series of experiments on mind control and time travel, involving engineering beyond known technology and even contact with extraterrestrials. Analysis. However, the incident is actually based on a collection of stories by Preston Nichols Preston, which blends science fiction themes with the background of the U.S. military at the time. This explains why none of the projects in the project conform to the laws of physics that are currently known, so they are veritable urban legends, but they still seem to be circulating in all corners of the internet along with the Philadelphia Experiment. 7. Step back in time on Boulder Street. Event. It is rumored that in 1996, a husband and wife pair came to Liverpool, United Kingdom, to walk the famous Bold Street, and something unthinkable happened. Frank and Carol walked into a bookstore called Waterstone without incident. As soon as he stepped into the bookstore, Frank noticed a subtle change in his surroundings. He noticed that the pedestrians on the road were all dressed in 1940s clothes, as if they had stepped back in time half a century ago. As Carol walked into the store, Frank stopped, realizing that it was not the original bookstore, but a shop selling women's clothes and umbrellas. When he was surprised, he pushed open the door, and in front of him was the picture of Carol buying a book and paying the bill, and everything seemed to be back to normal. After this incident, Frank researched and found that the bookstore was indeed a women's store in the 40s and 50s of the 20th century. At the same time, he also investigated that since the 50s, some people have been aware of the vision of turning back time on Boulder Street. Many scholars believe that the phenomenon of turning back time on Boulder Street is related to the quartz material in the nearby Central Station building, that is, some unknown magnetic reaction causes the picture to reappear, and even produces a phenomenon such as going back in time. Analysis. This is the end of the story, and I believe many readers are amazed by this. However, the incident began United Kingdom, a short story written by science fiction writer Tom Sleman in 1997. It's worth noting that the bookstore and women's clothing store in the story are real, and Sleman is a native of Liverpool, which explains why he knows the local scene very well. After this article was circulated and reprinted on the internet, there were several different versions. As for the scientific explanation of this phenomenon by some scholars, it is not in fact scientific. This also proves that when reading many books on unsolved mysteries, readers should be diligent in checking the existence of relevant scientific evidence. 8. Investors from the future. Incident. In January 2003, an individual named Andrew Carlson was brought back for trial by United States financial regulator for making 126 high-risk stock investments in 2 weeks, earning $350 million from the original $800, and therefore officials believed that the individual was involved in insider trading. During interrogation, Carlson revealed that he was from the future year 2256. While the world was talking about it, Carlson's interrogation came to an abrupt end, and the time traveler vanished into thin air. Analysis: but the truth is that it was nothing more than a short fictional story published in Weekly World News, which was subsequently reprinted by Yahoo News and other media outlets, and the different accounts added to the credibility of the fictional story. 9. John Tito event. Those familiar with the legend of time travel will surely hear that John Titor is arguably the representative of the time traveler. The man, who was active on an online message board from 2000 to 2001, claims to be from 2036 and was commissioned by the military to travel back in time to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer in 1975. Tito claimed that he was born in 1998 and went back to 2000 to visit himself and his parents as a child. Of course, many netizens are skeptical. However, in order to prove that what he said is true, Tito also answered many netizens' questions positively and gave specific descriptions of the future world, such as the technical details of the time machine, as shown above, the trend of international politics, the spread of war and disease, the development of future science and technology, etc. Some of these predictions even came true, making John's status as a time traveler even more entrenched. Analysis: despite the plot, everything about Tito's claims has been proven to be a hoax. The story of John Tito was actually concocted by Larry Haber, a Florida amateur lawyer, and his brother Maury Haber. Since Maury himself is a computer engineer, this also explains why John's story is still in some way technical. Even so, the urban legends about Tito continue to this day. Perhaps this is what makes the fictional genre compelling. 10. The only officially recognized time travel event in history. Incident: on a street in Ukraine in 2006, a man in an old-fashioned suit with an old camera stood blankly on the street. The man, Sergei Ponomarenko, was taken back by the police for questioning because of his obtrusive clothing, and he pulled out of his pocket an ID card issued by the Soviet government 50 years ago. He said that he was born in 1932 and is now 25 years old, insisting that he was in 1958, when he noticed a UFO while walking in the city, picked up a camera to shoot it, and suddenly found himself in an unfamiliar environment. The police believed that Sergei might be suffering from mental illness and sent him to a psychiatrist for consultation, and at the same time, they also asked a photographer to examine the photographs. The results were astonishing. The camera film was discontinued in the 70s, and both the film and the camera body were in very good condition. When the photo was developed, it turned out that the street scene in the photo was indeed a street scene of Kiev in the 50s, and there were photos of UFOs that Sergei said, as well as a photo of him and his girlfriend. Just as the police were preparing to conduct an in-depth investigation, Sergei disappeared out of thin air from the closed psychiatric ward, and the monitor only entered the room, but did not record it leaving the room. Later, according to Sergei's clues, the police found the woman in the photo, who is now 74 years old, and alleged that Sergei reappeared sometime after his disappearance. In addition, investigators also found in the state archives a transcript of an interview with the Kyiv radio station in 1960, in which modern terms such as microwave ovens and mobile phones were mentioned. According to his girlfriend, Sergei disappeared again in 1970 and is still missing, perhaps traveling to a different time and space. Analysis: this incredible event has been widely circulated on the internet and is said to be the only officially confirmed time travel event. However, the following are a few doubts. First, the Soviet Communist Youth League has never issued documents, and the documents seem to be old and yellowed. If they really came from 1958, they should not be so old, and for Sergei's outfit, it is not difficult to rent a complete set of prop costumes. Second, Some people verified that Sergei confessed to shooting street scenes. In fact, the same photos can be found on the internet, one of which is a street scene photo taken by the state administration of Ukraine in 1961. Moreover, the sequence of dates in the monitor footage narrated by the incident is obviously incorrect and flawed. Regarding the dialogue between the interview and the camera screen, the characters and shots are also presented unnaturally, and there is a suspicion of deliberate play, as if it were a realistic documentary. Finally, it is impossible for the time travel incident to be officially recognized, and the reason why there is a official recognition may be because the official does not directly deny the existence of the Sergei case, but this does not mean that the time travel will be officially recognized. So, the answer is coming out: the whole incident is probably just a fictional plot with pictures and texts. Conclusion: there are a lot of time travelers on the internet, true or false, free minds.